In the psychic's chair, the veil between worlds thins, as the smoke deep and let the unseen truths of the immersed, guiding us into the unknown.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Craig y Nos Castle, where today in the psychic's chair, episode 11, is being filmed live. And our special guest today is Orora Medway-Smith, who joins us in between her many workshops here, there and everywhere. So a very interesting interview to come up there. And Jeremy Marsh, our resident historian, and I will of course be chatting about some of the work that we did in the past. And our resident medium, Elaine Taylor, will be joining us as we pop around the castle to see if there are any of our friends wishing to talk to us today. And that's everything on In the Psychic's Chair for episode 11. So sit back and enjoy the program.
MostHauntedCastle.com. Paranormal investigations with a difference. Visit our website or ring reception for details. 01639 731167.
Well, here we are with the first segment of In the Psychic's Chair for this week's program, and Jeremy Marsh once again.
Pleasure.
It is. It's always a pleasure. So, what should we talk about this week, Jeremy?
I was thinking about what we should talk about, because we've covered an awful lot in the series so far. But something cropped up at the weekend. I was doing a history tour on Sunday, and we had about 30 people here, and we had a really good morning, walking around and so on. But it's amazing. A few people came up to me and said that they had relatives or knew of children that were here during the tuberculosis period, and unfortunately, they'd passed away while they were here. And thinking about it afterwards, it reminded me of the sort of things that happened to you when you were channeling, particularly in respect of the children that were here. So I was wondering if I could ask you, could you relate to some of that you felt? Or
could I relate to it? Well, I was asleep, so so it's a bit difficult.
Yes, I mean, I know I'm always recording and documenting what happened, but
I always felt very sad.
Yes.
When I came back into full consciousness after having channeled some of the children, because their stories were really sad, and even though I had no recollection of what was being said whilst it was being said, I was left with this residual sadness. It didn't last long, of course, but it was there, as if in addition to picking up the actual words of the person and channeling their being, so to speak, also their emotions as well, and it's the emotions that were the residual effects for me. And I do recall, we had, I think, 20 or 30 interviews with children over the course of the 18 months.
It was quite a few, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a few.
And regular.
Yeah. And what was interesting was a lot of the children were made comment, didn't they, to the Byron, and how they didn't like him, and how their spirits, although they were not here all the time, but when they were here, there was one spirit they avoided, and that was the Byron, because of his total dislike of children. And yet, there was that little boy, Timmy, who walked around with him hand in hand. It's almost as if he was keeping the Byron away from the rest of the children.
Yeah.
It's very strange, very strange. Yeah. And in fact, my very first experience here some years ago, well, sorry, not my second experience here some years ago, was actually seeing the Byron walking around with a little boy holding his hand, who I now know to be Timmy. Of course, I didn't know who it was then. And I didn't actually know that it was the Byron then either. But of course we do now.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, thanks for that. There's so much that goes on here, isn't there?
it's a busy place.
Yeah.
It's a busy
And
place.
people walk in, and I mean, particularly our resident guest, Elaine, she walks around and feels all sorts of things.
There's all sorts of things to feel. I mean, I've been in some busy places in the last 40 years, but this is definitely the busiest, no doubt about that. And I think the beauty of Craig y Nos is that even though spiritually, psychically, it's a very busy place, there's nothing here that is likely to harm anybody or anything like that. I mean, even though there are spirits that are still here who have very sad stories to tell, there's no nastiness in anything. It's whereas of course in some places you go where there are residual energies that are extremely unpleasant, and that's not the case here at all. And the only one that we encountered, of course, we've discussed before, was Connor, and he had every right to be feeling as he was, and I don't think he was disagreed with him either. But as far as the children were concerned, I remember, was it Bronwyn, little Bronwyn, who I think was about 6 or 7. Her story particularly I remember well, because she was very sad about not having seen her parents for so long, and that when she did, she only saw them at birthdays and Christmas through the window. And when you consider the average stay for children here in those days was anything between 6 months and 3 years, that's a long time to go without having any contact with your family.
Yes, of course, it was an isolation hospital, wasn't it? And that's an unfortunate part about it, really.
Who's speaking? No. Oh, Byron Williams is my name. Yeah, Byron.
Barry.
Yeah, Byron.
Byron.
Yeah, Byron. Yeah.
Have we spoken before, Byron?
No. This is my first time. I've been waiting for quite a long time because I wanted to talk to you. Yeah.
And what do you want to tell us today?
Well, I'm here because, of course, I died when it was a hospital, as you probably know, and there's a lot of us,
Yes.
and I just wanted to say hello, really, because it's a lot nicer here than when it was off. It was off. Oh, it was off. I didn't like it at all. No. And I'm only 9 years old, see?
9 years?
9 years old. 9 years. I was here for 7 months. That's all. Some of my friends were here for a very long time. But I was only here for 7 months. I wasn't very well when I came. I was very poor. And I just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And they put tubes down my throat, Couldn't breathe anyway, and then it made me swallow these tubes. And, it was horrible. And I didn't eat very much because I couldn't eat anyway. Couldn't stop coughing. I was coughing all the time. Every time I coughed up would come all this horrible stuff. Oh, it was horrible stuff. And the nurses used to shout if it went on the sheets instead of you see a metal thing that they used to do, to be sitting on the cup up into, and shouted at me. Mind the sheets, they say, mind the sheets, look at the mess we made. And goodness, it's not like we could help ourselves. It's my fault. And that's all. And then I died. Yeah. 1936 I was here. 1936. Yeah. As I say, only for 7 months though. Yeah, only for 7 months. Came in the January and I died in the August. And I come back here now and again, see, because it's all the same thing, really. And sometimes somewhere else, sometimes here, but also somewhere else at the same time. It's fun. It's like I've got 4 or 5 lives all going at the same time. It's ever silly. You have cartoons. They do call cartoons now, don't you?
Yes. Were you a local boy?
I was from Worcester.
Right.
Yeah. I had a brother, but he didn't get what I got. No. He didn't get what I got. And my mum, she died whilst before I came here. My mum did. But yeah, we lived in Worcester. Near the square. The square. That's one. I think the house is still there. Of course, we don't live there anymore. I've never been back there since then. So I don't know. But yeah, local stuff.
But and when we forget, those that survived and when they left here, that they had to re-educate themselves.
Yes, yeah.
They had no education or schooling while they were here.
I mean, it was interesting because after we did our work, it was the time that I encountered the book, The Children of Craig y Nos, and the TV program that was made. And it was really quite moving for me to see that after we'd had those experiences, because it was already alive within me because I'd experienced it, but I mean, to see it like that was evidence, which was really quite painful at times. Yeah.
Yes. We do hear the happier side of things. I mean, we had one patient, I think it was Sylvia Moore, who incidentally is in the book, and she wrote some comments about her time here, which is a wonderful story, and it's quite different in many respects because it's a very happy story. I mean, she came here as a young girl, was very poorly, and I recall her saying when she came to visit that she was placed in a small room upstairs, which she pointed out to us, and she was there 6 months alone before she joined the larger ward where all the children were. I mean, that's quite a thing, really, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't know any better in those days, did they, really?
No.
And I guess that was the first kind of isolation, I guess, in that sense. But it even though there were, sort of happy stories and sad stories, the bottom line is that here were children taken away from their families for sometimes up to 3 years, and them never having contact with them again. And also, of course, we know, don't we, that the children were not really allowed out of bed very often. And everything that would have, I mean, in that big ward upstairs, I think the other week when we were up there, I think we counted 40 odd beds that we could see, or the residual energy of 40 odd beds, which meant there was hardly any room between them either. But it also led me to think, well, the children must have invented and created games to keep themselves happy, and maybe not being as far apart as the beds weren't, then that would probably have lent itself to that, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, thank you, Jeremy. It's been
Thank you.
most interesting as usual. So if anybody is interested, there is a wonderful book called The Children of Craig y Nos. And was it S4C or
I believe
ITV?
I think it was S4C or I think it was S4C or Channel 4.
Yeah, so one of the two, S4C or Channel 4, if you want to catch up on the programme, The Children of Craig y Nos. So that's it from Jeremy and I this week, and we'll see you again next week.
Welcome to another clip of Sir David Attenborough and aka me, Jeremy Marsh. Well, I wonder what dinosaurs we can see today here in the forest looking for dinner. Here comes a baby Tyrannosaurus Rex. I wonder where its mother is.
Walls Have Ears, 1843 to 1877, Volume 1. Why not tune in to Showboat Television Online, Roku or Amazon Fire and watch Whisperings of Craig y Nos, produced by John Rolls and based on channeling and books by Lazarus Carpenter. A journey into the paranormal, only on Showboat Television. Book available from Artist and Makers Emporium SA9, 1GL, Amazon, and LazarusCarpenterAuthor.com. Volume 2 coming soon.
Well, hello and welcome to our guest spot on In the Psychic's Chair. And today it's with great pleasure that I introduce Angela Orora Medway-Smith, who I've known for a while now, but we've never actually met, have we?
Not in person.
Until
Not
today.
In person.
We Zoomed.
We've Zoomed
Yes,
several times.
As you do. Angela, welcome to In the Psychic's Chair. And it has been difficult to get hold of you because you're not in the country very much these days, are you? When running all these wonderful workshops in wonderful places like Costa Rica and stuff like that. It's very, very exciting, but hasn't always been like that, has it?
No.
I mean, you've had to work very hard to become an Amazon best-selling author, doing top-of-the-line workshops all over the world. So tell us how all this started for you.
Oh my gosh. Where do I begin?
At the beginning.
At the beginning. Okay. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me, Laz. It's such a pleasure to be here and such a beautiful location as well. And I'm just glad to be at home in Wales and, for it to be not too far for me to travel to you. Okay. So as a child, I could see spirit. And it was generally accepted that that was a fine thing to do in my house. And I had little friends, but whenever I spoke to the adults, it was, okay, dear, that's fine. Don't tell anybody about it. Don't make us different. And it wasn't until after my mother and grandmother had passed that I actually understood that they were both healers. They'd both been able to see spirit, but had never used those abilities in the same way. So I moved to London when I was 19, and when I was 21, 22, I had this ridiculous awakening. First ever meditation I did, it was as if I'd been plugged into a nuclear power station and all my clairs came online. It was terrifying. I could feel people's pain. I could hear them. I could see spirit. I could see auras, and I was absolutely petrified. And my teacher didn't know what to do with me. So she gave me, scribbled a name and phone number on a piece of paper. And this was a wonderful lady called Betty Bolcom, who I then spent 7 years in circle with. So those 7 years came and went, and I taught. I was working professionally doing psychic readings, and I was healing back in the late 80s, early 90s, and even taught intuitive development out in Australia. But it wasn't until my kids were sort of older teenagers that spirit brought me back online. Yeah, so I was working
as if they were waiting for you to be free enough to do it.
Yeah, but also waiting for me to amass all of the experience that I would need to do the work I'm doing now. So for a decade, I organised events for huge organisations like the CBI, British Computer Society. So I was a professional event organiser. Then I ran a charity for people with mental health problems.
That was in Swansea, wasn't it?
In Swansea, yeah. But I was working very quietly behind the scenes there with the healing, just with healing. Don't tell anybody you're a medium. You don't talk about it.
Been there.
Yeah. And I'd have been in the coid instead of working out the coid.
Absolutely.
If that was the case. And then I came to a point where I couldn't do anything else and I had to follow my soul's path. And that was 2012, 2014, something like that. I mean, we all know everything happened in 2012, everything that, the whole planet, everything changed. And so initially for me, it was trying to work out how I was going to work. So I started off by getting a job at Mysteries in Covent Garden, which had been around for 30 years, even at that point. It's closed now. And, you know, starting my healing and spiritual consultation business. So, and then it made absolute sense that I start fairs and festivals because I knew how to run them. So I did that for a few years. And then at one of those fairs, I got a message from Saint Germain. I'd been working with the Ascended Masters for a while, and I'd been working with the Violet Flame for probably about 5 years at that point. He wanted me to gather 5 people. He was very specific about the people, and he wanted me to learn to channel his energy without I'm a type 1 diabetic, so when I work with spirit, my sugars drop. So I had to sort of go slowly to learn how to hold the frequency for periods of time. So for a year, I did this and sat in circle with these 5 of the people supporting me, until we got to the point where I could hold Saint Germain's energy for an hour, and he loved holding court. He absolutely loved holding court.
They do.
And then the other masters started dropping in and coming through. And so I think the last few sessions we had Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, so Lady Nada, Lord Katumi popping in. So it was much to the shock of the people in the room when they would drop. I mean, I work in light trance, so
you're aware of everything as it's happening.
Absolutely. That was a boundary I set myself. So, because I learned very early on that setting boundaries is absolutely key to working comfortably with spirit. So I can move my consciousness out and they move in. So the deal I have with them is they can operate my body as far as my waist. So I don't want to be walking around and not knowing where I am, like Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks. So I want to be in control and know what's being said. Otherwise you miss everything, don't you?
Well, I mean, I would say no to that, because every time, I mean, as you know, I'm a full trance channel.
Yeah.
And I don't have any recollection of anything whilst it's going on, which is why we always recorded everything, so that, we would collect all the information at the end. But I equally can, a bit like yourself, sort of semi-trance and be totally aware. I prefer full trancing personally, because it enables, and I trust my guides to look after me anyway, so I mean, it's been 40 years now, so I guess I do trust them by now. I haven't always mind, but I certainly do now. And I think that for me, because of that trust, it does enable to take in almost the full personality of whoever it is as well. I mean, I did with Edgar Casey for 5 years, and that was an amazing experience, to say the least. But he demanded that. He demanded full trance, so. But equally, I agree with you that it's very important to have, and this is really important for our viewers to know as well, that to work efficiently with spirit, we do need a contract.
Yeah, we do.
And that contract's got to be something we are happy with, because it's us that are being used, if you like, in that sense. What happened next?
Well, what happened next was the world shut down. There was the pandemic. But I was given an opportunity to go to the Dominican Republic and run retreats in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
As you do, with it was a really surreal experience. So
Especially when the world's closed down.
soldiers in white suits with guns, taking your blood before they would let you into the country. Anyway, it's as if they wanted me in this pure, really beautiful energy so I could start channeling the first book, which was the book that this group had been set up for, called The Book of Many Colours. And it introduces readers to the divine rays and sacred flames. And so the channelings for that book were primarily done in the Dominican. And then it came out, because it took me a while, this human self wasn't good enough. I didn't, this whole human doing stuff was really difficult. But I manifested a book coach who actually said to me, this book is perfect. And then launched that on 11/11/21. Very quickly, I was instructed to join book collaborations. And so I joined a book collaboration with a wonderful lady called Anna Pereira, who runs an organisation called the Wellness Universe, which was called 25 Tools for Goddesses. Then another 2 followed that very quickly, and it was as if I was being instructed again in how to write in a different way. So I've always loved reading, and as a child, stories and poetry and things like that. I'd never had a wish to write a book, never ever. And then in 2022, I'd been told that there was another book to come through, and I'd booked 2 weeks at this point now to go to Merlin's Bridge to stay at my friend Mary's, because she said she would look after me and I could just focus on the channeling. And I was going down there, sort of travelling on the Monday. On the Saturday, my guide said to me, "You're not writing that book, you're writing this book." So
As
they do. So I said, well, I don't mind, just give me what you need and just make sure it flows and everything will be fine. But this was the thing. I got there, and I think it was the 25th of January. And on the Tuesday morning, St. Germain popped in and said, "I want this published on 22/2/22." At which point I laughed, because there was nothing written. And he was talking about 4 weeks later. So I was really clear. I said, "You're going to have to send me the money to pay the editor," because I already had an editor. "You're going to have to make sure my friend Annie is available to proofread it before I send it to her. You're going to have to keep me well, and you're going to have to make sure that the editor has space for me in her calendar, because she's always really booked." By the following morning. The money, people, there were bookings, literally overnight, there were bookings with enough money to be able to pay Michelle. And when I sent it to her, I took a day off. I took the Sunday off. And when I sent it to her the following Thursday at 7 a.m., so like 38,000 word, proofread, fully typeset, because I'd used the original from the previous book to typeset it in the same format book. She rang me at 9 o'clock and said, "You're not going to believe this, Angela. The woman whose manuscript I was supposed to work on today, it's not ready, so I can work on it straight away." And we actually published early, and it's just unbelievable. I still, you still can't work out, how that happened.
It's a bit difficult for viewers to get their head around the speed that Spirit works when they are really keen on a piece of work being finished, because that piece of work is valuable to everybody in the world.
Or when they want something, it happens. So then the next thing that happened was that I was St. Germain again. These are all St. Germain's books. Okay. So the Energy Healers Oracle, So Saint Germain decided that people didn't really understand how many different forms of healing energy that there were. And so I needed to gather 20 different healers from around the world to talk about the different modalities that they worked with, that they either practiced or they taught. And that was the Energy Healers Oracle, which actually I'm really proud of the Oracle book series. That was the original one, and it got to Book Authority in the States, recognized it as number 21 of the top 100 healing books of all time. So it was on a list with Alberto Villoldo and Barbara Brennan and Deepak Chopra and all of these people.
How did
and
that
it was
make you
like,
feel?
I just couldn't believe it. You know, for me, the books are about giving people the tools to create their own healing. So it was wonderful being recognised, but the books are what are important. So then there was a second Energy Healers Oracle book. Before I then moved away from that publisher, because Spirit said to me, we want you to gather Priestesses of the Rose and Magdalene Priestesses together to publish a book called The Magdalene Oracle. And I knew I wouldn't have enough authors contributing to take it through that publisher. So I did that. I pulled away and I started managing the projects myself. So we had the Magdalene Oracle that was published the Feast of the Magdalene last year. Then the Intuitives Oracle, which is helping people to develop their intuition, their psychic abilities, teaching them, all about 17 different teachers, so not just me. And then this year, I was just talking to somebody about this. I said, Spirit came and said, the Magdalene Oracle isn't complete. We need you to do an extended edition, and this needs to be written in French.
Do you speak French?
No. Well, school French until I was 12 years old. So again, it manifested that I was teaching Mary Magdalene Reiki in Glastonbury, and in the next room to me was a Belgian Magdalene priestess, a high priestess, who I knew. I knew from it's another story how I knew her, another crazy story. And then I handed her the original book and I told her what Spirit had said, and I asked her would she help me, and she did. And the extended edition was published this year on the Feast of the Magdalene again, in French and English. And I've just come back from the Sacred Magdalene Festival, where we have manifested a German translation team and a Spanish translation team.
You just took my next question away then. Yeah, well done. Excellent. It's meant to be read worldwide.
It's meant to, yeah. That one in particular, that book is really, really important, which is why it was expanded, and it wasn't ready to be translated until it was expanded.
Do you have any spare time?
This year's been a bit crazy because the last of the Oracle books is in process at the moment. So the authors are just putting the final touches to their chapters, and that's called Good Grief, the Oracle, Transforming Grief to Grace. And that's the last one. Actually, I told them no more books last year, and then I was persuaded I'm talking about Spirit now, and then I was persuaded to run this with another light worker who a month before the project launch pulled out, and so it's my baby.
So you got landed with it whether you wanted to or not?
Yeah, I was left holding the baby, but actually it's the final one. So That's not, the channel books have continued, but that's the last of the Oracle books, because it's a lot managing, 20 other authors. Some of them have had no experience of writing at all. So there's the coaching, and of course, Lazarus, you're in Good Grief, the Oracle.
Yes. Surviving adoption.
Yeah.
I mean, I found. I thank you for asking me to contribute to that. I mean, it was a little cathartic for me. It was writing what I wrote, which the edited version will be back with you by midnight tonight, all being well. I mean, I think that grief is an issue which affects absolutely everybody on the planet, and it is probably one of the least best understood emotions that we as human beings go through, and yet every single one of us do at some stage in our lives.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we got authors talking about all forms of loss, not just bereavement, and I think that's important because there are, loss is something every human experiences, but so many losses aren't recognized as grief and aren't honoured in the way that they should be.
I think you've just hit the nail on the head there, because for me, honoured is the word. Certainly, my experiences were 74 years ago, a long time. But some of it is as raw today as it was when I was 10, when I found out for myself. And I think that that's the kind of thing which is rather difficult, because as you know, I'm a therapist as well, and I've always found it a very difficult area for people to look at. Grief is something, no matter what it's about, as you've already said, is probably one of the most common emotions that human beings have, because we all lose something and we all feel sad about it. What do we do with that sadness? Can we change that sadness into something more constructive that is going to help bring richer qualities to our lives as well as other people too, which of course the book will.
It definitely will. And what the common thread through the Oracle books is that they all provide tools and practices so that people can receive healing or learn about the clair senses and learn how to develop different clair senses. So exercises, practices, soul practices and sacred practices from almost 100 authors across the series now. So it's a really rich series. And what I love bibliomancy.
Yes, yeah, me too.
So it's just, you hold the book in your hand and what do I need to know today? What message do I need? What practice do I need? And open it, and there you see it. And it's surprising how on point these.
I mean, this is for our viewers. Let's just for a moment go back to what you just said, because a lot of people won't know what bibliomancy is.
Okay.
So let's just very briefly explain it for people.
Okay, so bibliomancy comes from the Bible, where people were actually using their intuition to open the Bible at a point and then find a passage that they could reflect on. So we use bibliomancy with all forms. You can use it with lots of different books.
Doesn't have to be the Bible.
No, it doesn't have to be the Bible, but the Oracle series lends itself to that.
I just reminded I did 13 essays back in the mid-90s through bibliomancy with the Bible, and these essays ended up being channeled, of course, but the messages that were hidden within were really fascinating. And I still got the manuscript and I haven't done anything with it.
Maybe that's a prompt now.
Maybe that is a prompt. Yes, maybe it is. What's next for you, Angela? I mean, you have a very busy life. I would have thought a holiday would be nice.
Well, I am actually going on holiday, and I'm really blessed to be away for a whole month in September. So after that, when I come back. I'm off to Nepal. I'm very blessed that I'm asked to facilitate at retreats these days. I used to run my own retreats, but it's hard going.
It's nice when you get asked to come and do it somewhere else, isn't it?
It's absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely. So, whether it's a weekend retreat, a day retreat, or a retreat in the far-flung country, I'm open to all of those things. And next year, I mean, I said that about this year. Next year, I'm slowing down.
All right.
Yeah.
We've now got that on camera, folks. So we have evidence that we can throw at you.
Slowing down so that instead of book after book after book after book, I can actually sit with the books, manage the translation projects properly, and actually get them marketed on a wider scale so that more people are finding the healing from them. So it's that really, that is, yeah. And I worked in corporate and I've worked in the charity sector. And so I was a senior manager in the charity sector. So I studied MBA. I've run, several departments at once. So Spirit also decided that they wanted me involved in networking.
I wonder why.
Yes. So leading networking. So I've taken on the role of managing director of eWomen Network's London chapter. So I'm building slowly. I did tell them I already had a full calendar. I'm very slowly building a chapter in London.
It's very refreshing for us, I think, on In the Psychic's Chair, to have somebody who is so committed to their work and have been for so many, many years. And I think that what you have produced for everybody to listen to is a model of excellent practice.
Thank you.
And I can't see anybody disagreeing with that. I mean, you are promoting what it's all about. There's no hairy-fairiness about what you're doing at all. It's straight to the jugular, which again is very refreshing for us. We do have, as you're aware, issues with mediumship nowadays because of the way it isn't taught rather than the way it is taught. And I mean, this is something that we have been discussing on the program quite extensively. We've not had a guest yet who has not really felt really uncomfortable about what's going on nowadays, and therefore breaths of fresh air such as yourself are so welcome.
From a personal point of view, I was blessed to have the really, really good practical grounding. I mean, I call myself the practical mystic. Everything I do has a real world practical reason.
Application. Yeah.
Real world. So that you're not just, if you're doing a meditation, you're doing a meditation with an outcome that you would like, not just random. It's not random because our time is, you have to go into these things with intentionality and integrity.
Which are the two main attributes of the warrior.
Yeah. I mean, I was chatting earlier about the divine rays and sacred flames, and one of it's really interesting because there's a piece of ascension numerology which is slightly different from numerology that came through Saint Germain for a channel called Edwin Courtney, and you can work out which of the divine rays and sacred flames that your incarnating soul rode down on, and mine was the 33rd ray, overseen by Archangel Michael. And when I found that out, I thought, oh my God, no wonder I've been in battle for most of my life, you know? Yeah, it's really interesting.
Angela Orora Medway-Smith, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you as our guest. Now look, for the sake of our viewers, where can they find your books and where can people contact you should they wish to?
Okay, thank you, Laz. So if you look at my name on Amazon, you'll be able to see all of my books, but they're also on every other platform as well. So if you look for Apple Books, you'll find them there. Kobe in the library apps, you'll find them in the library apps as well. I make sure that they're everywhere and they're really accessible. My business is called Cariad Spiritual. So if you look at cariadspiritual.com, you'll find my website. You'll also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, but not very much. It's all a bit much, isn't it? Trying to spread yourself. I did a couple of TikTok videos, but only a couple of them. Because
we've been amazed at the following we've suddenly developed on TikTok.
Yeah, actually, I think I've been prompted because my cousin's daughter said to me, "Oh, you keep coming up on TikTok," and I said, "Really? I only recorded about 3 things about 3 years ago." She said, "You're coming up on my feed." So yeah, maybe I should.
Well, the thing is, guys, social media is the way we tend to communicate nowadays, and if there's one way that spirit can get the message across quickly, it's through social media.
Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel as well. Yeah, so I'm on YouTube as well. But and there's lots of business support on there. So I put I've had lots of guests who've come along and run sessions to support my healer and author communities. So I call those bite-sized business basics. They're all on YouTube.
That's a nice handle. I like that.
Yeah, they're short, and it doesn't matter how much you know about business, you learn something from every one of them.
I think that's pretty true of what we do too, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The day that practitioners actually throw their hands up and say, "Yes, I learn something new every day," is the day that they start telling the truth.
Well, I do. I certainly do. Yeah.
Angela, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being our guest on this week's In the Psychic's Chair.
Thoughts on suffering. All of us say, we do not want to suffer, and yet each and every day, we cause more suffering to ourselves, and support those who perpetuate suffering for others. We say, we do not want to suffer. What do we mean by suffering? It is created, defined and experienced by so many souls on our planet, and controlled and manipulated by so few. A must for every bookshelf. This thought-provoking little book inspired by Padre Pio is written by Lazarus Carpenter and illustrated by Jill Brooks. Available from LazarusCarpenterAuthor.com.
You see what I see, do you?
You see something over there.
Yeah. We quite often see the children playing on the upstairs, don't we?
Yeah.
The whole building and grounds are full with spirit, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely full. And I think for us, what's been so nice is that really since we started, when we, nearly 3 years ago now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been that long, yes.
Yeah.
It must be.
Yeah, it is. And when we first started doing the channeling work we were doing, it was difficult, wasn't it? Really. But after about a couple of months, it was no stopping them. The floodgates opened, didn't they? And they were literally queuing up. And we had a doorkeeper on the other side of the veil, keeping them in order to some extent, because we had a few who just nip in, didn't they? Unannounced, particularly the Baron, of course. Baron Cedarstrom loves to.
Oh, he was always.
He was always in, wasn't he? Yeah. Talk of the devil. See him in the corner? Wearing his top hat as well today.
Yeah, it's in here.
He's a chap who likes to be known, doesn't he? Likes to be seen. Nobody will have anything to do with him. Because sadly he was a bit of a boy, see? Wasn't he? Bit of a boy.
Quite tall for a Victorian man.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah. 6'3", wasn't he, or something?
Well over 6 feet.
Yeah, well over 6 foot. And that was without the top hat.
That's the fact, which would make him rather.
I mean, you can understand to some extent why Adelina was so attracted to him, because I mean he was Swedish, he was aristocracy, and he was pretty handsome as well. He was also 30 years younger than she was too, which didn't bear too well in later life.
No, but I think we were all surprised when she married the Baron only within 12 months of her second husband, Nicolini, passing away.
Yeah, that was.
Which is, well, very unlike Adelina, I would have thought,
Yeah,
the way she
yeah.
was.
I mean, there's a part of me, well, there's a big part of me that thinks that one of the things that Baron Cedarstrom was very good at was getting his own way and manipulating people to get his own way. And I think, we were talking earlier about grief, and I think that I mean, Nicolini was her love and light. And when he passed, I can't help but thinking Cedarstrom took advantage of that.
Well, that could have been the case.
He was 30, she was 56. And within 3 months of her death, he sold everything in the castle and moved away. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sad, isn't it? And this is why you're here today, isn't it, my friend? He's just said, you don't have to remind me. It is significant, very significant, that the children certainly won't have anything to do with him at all. When he's around, the kids disappear, don't they? I've gone very, very cold.
Me too.
Really, my inner core temperature has just dropped considerably. You feeling it?
I do. The whole of my back is freezing cold.
So we've got visitors. So let's know who we are, shall we? Cedarstrom's muttering away in my ear hole again. I think, to be honest with you, Byron, as much as we like your company, it would be nice if you just disappeared for a little while and let somebody else come in who would prefer to be here rather than lording it over everybody. No disrespect intended to your good self. You've gone.
Somebody just called me Mum. So I'm not tuning in into who they are, but I'd be interested to know who that is.
Was it a small voice? child's voice.
Mm.
So you obviously remember, you were obviously perhaps remind whoever the child is of their mother, maybe. I mean, you have got a very maternal feel, anyway, haven't you?
Yeah, very lovely, isn't she?
So you're going to attract children, aren't you? How are you feeling, Jeremy?
Quiet.
Quiet. More quiet than usual.
Yes.
Uh-huh. I thought for some time that Spirit's been trying to talk to you. I mean, you spend a lot of time here.
I do.
You know more about this castle than anybody.
Well, I wouldn't go so far to say that.
Well, I would. I would.
But I do spend a lot of time here. I mean, I walk around throughout the castle. Often, you know, when it's quiet, alone. Yeah.
It's quite interesting to note. Jeremy'd been here, 20 years when we met? Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah, I first came here in about 2003. Yes.
Never seen a thing. Never experienced a thing. Until we started doing all the channeling stuff, and then it changed, didn't it?
Well, taking all the recordings and the sort of verbatim reports while you were channeling is quite an eye-opening to me. You know?
It also shows you what happens on the other side of the veil that people say doesn't exist, but we all know it does. Isn't it?
Have you seen anything?
Yeah, loads.
What can you see? Tell me.
Loads. I've seen lots of little children up upstairs in the hospital. Seen children playing around here. There's one that always hangs out up there. So I've seen loads. Smoky, dark figures. The Byron stood where the bar is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite an appropriate place for him to stand, really, isn't it, I suppose?
When we were on a previous visit, we were underneath the stage, and it was just the three of us. And you saw someone at the far end, didn't you, in the corner?
Yeah,
remember?
it was the first one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Series.
And did we establish who we thought
No,
that
it was
was?
the Baron,
Yeah.
wasn't
Baron?
it?
No, it was Nicholene, wasn't it? Because he had hunting dogs.
Yes.
Ah, right, yeah.
We thought it was the Baron because you thought he was quite a tall person. But, I mean, he could have been a reasonable size, but the Baron was exceptionally tall.
Yeah, he was, yeah. Well, there we are. That's another week of In the Psychic's Chair. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's programme, and a big thank you to Angela for being our guest, and Jeremy, of course, and Elaine. And we'll be back again next week with episode 12 of In the Psychic's Chair.
9 ghost stories to fuel paranormal paranoia for insomniacs. A man unable to say no. A headless horse seeks revenge. An ancient castle lost in time. A medium guided by a haunted pen. The whispering windmill. An abandoned railway station. A girl and a raven. A secret passageway. And the very strange absent ball. Illustrated by Jill Brooks and written by Lazarus Carpenter. Available from Amazon, Lulu, Artist and Makers Emporium.uk and LazarusCarpenterAuthor.com.
MostHauntedCastle.com. Paranormal investigations with a difference. Visit our website or ring reception for details. 01639 731167. In the psychic's chair, the veil between worlds thins, as the smoke deep and let the unseen truths of the merged, guiding us into the unknown.